tapioca pudding's really good, and then it's going to flood the earth with tapioca pudding. We're all going to die. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Creature Popcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Lindsay.
And today, we're going to a party. We are going to a murder party.
Murder party!
This is our Halloween episode.
It is.
So this movie is from 2007, which blew my mind. I thought it was way more current than that. It's written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier, who would go on to do Blue Ruin, a movie I love, and Green Room, a movie I love a little less. He is part of this core group of people with Macon Blair, who's in this movie, that have been making movies since they were in 6th grade.
So I noticed on the credits there was some sort of name of their movie group.
Yeah, it's called the Monster Lab.
Monster Lab,
and
okay.
The Monster Lab is their young boy collective was when they were running around, making films on 8mm and on VHS tapes and stuff like that.
Cute.
Yeah, real cute. This is like their first movie. I don't even know if they call it a feature. This is a crisp 79-minute long movie. And they made this thing for less than $250,000.
Wow.
So it's like a bottle episode in a cold-ass warehouse in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. They said almost all of the people in the cast were also doing other production things like costume and makeup and stuff because everyone was just all hands on deck.
Makes sense. I also noticed that most of the people in the cast used their real names.
Yeah, that's true as well. It's really just like a ragtag run and gun type of thing, which I love. Mm-hmm. I think that adds to it a little bit. So, Lindsay, why don't we start talking about this movie?
Okay. We start out with a stoop and a jack-o'-lantern smash. Just focusing on that.
Smashing pumpkin.
Yeah. And then, lots of Halloween around the city scene.
I love this. Yeah. This B-roll is so good because you could tell that they're running and gunning. This is from the years previous actual Halloween in Brooklyn. And They're just out there getting kids on the street. Mm-hmm. The sun's not down yet. The bakery windows. It just felt like Halloween.
It did feel like Halloween. It did set the scene very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we flash to a video store.
And in the video store, he's renting VHS tapes.
I know.
You could tell it's not a Blockbuster. You could just tell it's one of these mom and pop things.
It is a mom and pop shop.
SRO Video back in the day.
Anyway, so we flash to a guy walking down the street with the videos and a video bag.
Guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a thing of pills, and I'm like, what are the pills?
It's not even a thing.
Not even a thing yet, yeah. So I was just curious what that was.
Yeah, he just takes his prescription.
So a random letter or something is...
Yeah, we follow this black envelope that's blowing down the road.
Right, it's just blowing. Obviously they're chasing it with a leaf blower.
Don't look behind the curtain, baby. It's just blowing down the road.
Couldn't help myself.
And it ends up our hero...
He stomps on it.
Steps it.
Yeah, he stomps on it and catches it and picks it up and greets. And I love how he gets a little grin when he reads the invitation to the murder party.
The invitation's for a murder party.
Murder party.
An address. Yeah. And says, come alone.
Come alone. We follow him home, and it turns out the soup with the smashed pumpkin is his. Mm-hmm. So, which, of course, I'm already feeling he's an unlucky person. So he tries to settle in and watch movies with his candy corn, and his cat thwarts him.
Right. He stands there, and he's all ready to watch his movies, and goes, Sir Lancelot, get down. And we just cut to this cat laying on his one chair, and it just stares. And he goes, fine. And then decides to go to
the murder party because the cat won't get out of his chair.
In that moment, exactly.
Changes his entire plan, which is
plan.
Just crazy to me because I'd be pushing that cat out of the chair.
No, you never. The chair belongs to the cat.
It is. The cat has decided he's going to a murder party. So the first thing he does is he literally goes outside and gets his smashed pumpkin and makes pumpkin bread.
Which
is what this character is.
Yes.
When life gives him smashed pumpkins, he makes pumpkin bread.
He makes pumpkin bread. Yes.
Very sweet. Little sweetie. He puts raisins in it.
He puts raisins in it, and that's important.
Will show up later. It's kind of important. Nothing's important in this movie. He goes to
a back room. It's really funny. There's a bunch of boxes. It says office supplies, Halloween costumes, and then he pushes the office supplies off, and he grabs the Halloween costume, and then he just dumps it out, and he's like, perfect, and he just throws supplies like duct tape and pens and stuff in the box and takes the box. He doesn't want the Halloween costumes on the inside.
He makes his suit of armor out of a cardboard box labeled Halloween costume.
Yes,
very cute.
It is very, very cute. from there, we print out an old school map, like MapQuest.
Yeah, remember back in the day we used to do that?
About how to get to this party? Yes, I do remember how to. I'm old enough to remember that.
You used to actually copy-papered maps.
And then he starts his journey across the city. I love the line on the subway train where that rapper's just like, he's just staring at him. He's like, "This is your obituary."
Yeah. He's wide-eyed stare ahead as a man angrily raps in his ear. New York is rough. It's hard to get around.
But then he walks the rest of the way, and it's like fun little walk through the city at night with all these people in costumes, lots of homemade costumes. It looks like a real Halloween, not a production.
Again, it is. You know they're filming a real adult evening and at a Halloween probably the year previous to this movie coming out.
Right. But then he gets increasingly further and further away from the city and into like an industrial area, and he starts to like freak himself out to the point where he starts running through the streets.
Well, it's funny. It's very like get out before get out. It shows him just kind of checking his map, walking, and as it gets increasingly industrial, and it smash cuts to him wide-eyed, just booking it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just like, something happened where
something happened off camera.
Yeah.
But he ends up at the address.
When we first go into the warehouse, it's just a bunch of like hallways made out of boxes, and he gets to like the main part of the warehouse.
It opens up to a bunch of characters
sitting around.
They're looking at their phones. They're just playing a little video game. They're all in costume too. We have Macon, who is dressed as a werewolf.
Yep.
He's got a latex werewolf mask. We have Skye, and she's a zombie cheerleader, I want to say. We have Paul, who is like an Anne Rice type Lestat vampire. He's got none of these. All these costumes seem really handmade. Nothing's elaborate.
Yeah.
Lexi is Pris from Blade Runner. She's Daryl Hannah's character in Blade Runner. And then Bill as a baseball fury from the Warriors. So he's in a Yankees costume.
And that's what the yellow face
with the yellow face and the black domino
I thought it was a weird baseball dog, like a cartoon.
No, you haven't seen the Warriors.
I attempted to. I think I also fell asleep during that movie.
We never made it all the way through it. You're going to make a lot of
people mad.
We'll get to the Warriors, everybody. It's fine.
John will have questions about the Warriors.
Well, John's basically seen it because Streets of Fire is a family movie, so it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's Walter Hill, I believe, did both of those movies.
We've seen Streets of Fire a million times.
One of them is really good.
Yeah.
Which one?
So
good question.
This group looks up and is like, "Oh shit! Someone showed up," and they immediately attack him? Is that right away?
They kind of like crowd around him, and Macon goes over there to get an axe, right? And he's coming up behind him while they're all talking.
Oh, Macon's gonna kill him outright.
Right, he's got the axe.
Yeah.
He's got it above his head, and it gets stuck in a chain.
Well, I think it's a pull thing from a
whatever. It gets stuck in something, and then our protagonist sees a shadow of a wolf head with an axe, and he kind of freaks out, and so then they all dogpile on top of him.
Gotcha.
And then a chase ensues.
I don't think there's a chase yet.
Right? Okay.
He pretty much is immediately tied up, and we learn through the conversation of this group that they're all presenting this murder of this man to a man named Alexander in order to get grant money for art projects.
Right. They're all different types of artists.
So
performance art,
there's
visual
performance art,
photography.
there's a photographer. Bill turns out to be a painter later on. They're all basically, once Alexander comes, they're going to murder this man or propose a way to murder this man in order to win this grant money.
Right.
I do want to say real quick, like a couple things happened pretty fast. Skye, our zombie cheerleader, just wants to not do this anymore. It's not like she has a moral issue.
She wants
She's
to go down the
bored,
street.
And she wants to go to Cicero's party, which is down the street.
Yeah.
It's a better party, and they're all like, no, we've all decided to do this. We're doing this.
We're killing somebody for art.
And Skye is also eating his pumpkin bread that he has brought.
Yeah.
She quickly finds out that it's got raisins in it.
Right.
And has a problem with that.
She's allergic to sulfates.
She gets dizzy, falls on the floor, and immediately dies. There's a piece of an engine.
I don't know. So it's just like a dowel almost, like a metal dowel that's like an inch wide.
It's to a chunky piece of metal, so it didn't move.
This is obviously a found warehouse full of junk.
Yeah, it's all full of junk. She slams her head. It's fast. It's gory. It's fun.
Yep.
She sits up and she's like, I smell grass, and dies. Like, as blood is just like
and everybody
founting
just
out of her head.
Takes it fine.
Yeah, well,
nobody really freaks out, and they're like, "Oh, well, that just happened."
Well, they're here to murder somebody, I think they only think it's a big issue because they think Alexander's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So they wrap her up in plastic real quick because Alexander's on his way and put her in a freezer box that's
really gross
also
old
right
freezer
there in the warehouse.
Yeah.
I don't know how many details we want to go into.
It's
Because
okay.
this is just like boom, boom,
I
boom,
had
boom
written
of stuff.
around this scene too, what's up with Bill? Because
Well, Bill's-
that's a thing for me, is that Bill's just sitting on the floor with a little video game and he's not really participating.
He doesn't really participate. He does say, they're like, we're going to murder this guy. Are we all in agreement? And he looks up and says, I didn't sign up for a second-degree assault party.
Right.
So he's
Yes.
down.
He's down.
Macon also seems very bloodthirsty. He
does.
our werewolf guy, obviously rushed from Go to hit him with an axe.
Yeah,
That
he
didn't
was
go
ready to
forward.
kill someone.
And then when told that someone brought a jug of acid, he also runs in
He
and
does.
just pours all
he
this
pours
acid
it all
over this guy.
the protagonist. Yeah.
It turns out to be
Acetic acid, which is vinegar.
which is a bottle of vinegar.
Yeah,
Because all of these people are fucking idiots.
They're dumb. Yeah. They're dumb.
I did, at this point, love people calling everyone dildos again as an insult. And it was like, you're such a dildo. I'm like, man, I kind of missed
Calling people
dildo.
dildos?
And then by the end of this movie, I'm like, I'm tired of people being called dildos. The word dildo is used so much in this movie. So it like welcomed me back to the dildo fray and
does-
then took me back.
I mean,
out
it
of
does give you a little bit of authenticity with a group that would use the same slurs together over and over
we'll
again.
We'll
Yeah.
get to one of the reasons why these characters are annoying, but also I kind of hung with it because it feels authentic.
Yeah.
This feels like the writers of this movie hung out with these fucking assholes and wrote them into the movie.
Yes.
In one part in particular.
Yeah, sure. So
I'm at Alexander and
I am
Psycho.
also. I wrote he was a douchebag.
Who was a
Alexander's a douchebag.
Yeah, I mean they all are, but Alexander is kind of a douchey of the douchies.
Yeah.
He has shown up with
A drug dealer.
someone. His name is Zyko.
I didn't
He's Slavic or
Polish or something.
Polish. He's something.
Yeah.
Doesn't speak much, and also their dog Hellhammer.
Hellhammer!
which is like a corgi in a cute.
It
little
looks like a
skeleton.
husky and a corgi had a baby.
Yeah,
It was.
but
You love it?
it's
love
super
it.
cute.
And he's in a little skeleton costume. He's very adorable.
Alexander.
The dog lives, right?
Yes.
Don't worry, this dog's fine. It's much like the last movie where you're not sure where Hellhammer is.
That's true. It kind of just disappears.
Alexander does insist that the dog is part dingo.
Yeah, that's right. He
Which
does insist.
The beginning
dog.
of Alexander lying through his teeth
Yes.
constantly.
Yes, constantly. Yeah. He proves how much of a douchebag he is because he just comes in and he makes the other vampire, because he comes in and he's wearing like a red satin shirt and a suit, right?
He says he's a vampire.
He's
but
wearing plastic teeth.
he looks like Angel from Buffy the
He
Vampire
does
Slayer.
look like Angel from Buffy. Oh my god, it's straight up Angel. I never place that.
Yeah.
He does.
Where Paul has like the
He has the ruffles and the velvet.
And he has,
actual prosthetic teeth.
yeah.
Like epoxy, you know?
Yeah,
teeth.
the epoxy teeth. Alexander makes him take
All of it off.
And he goes,
Every ounce of
he
it
goes,
off.
take off your vampire pants, which they're
Take
not,
off your vampire shirt.
they're not vampire pants, they're just pants.
Yeah, they're regular like khaki pants. So then he's like running around in like a sequined thong and a like band shirt.
But
yeah.
speaking of Paul, obviously everybody's trying to kiss Alexander's ass.
Yeah.
But of all of
Because they all
them,
want money.
Paul seems like the artist here. He's the photographer. He is trying to set up shots of our tied up hero.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to prove himself.
Right.
Lexi is showing Alexander part of her video installations on a camcorder, and they're all just her like naked in a bathtub with hot dogs being thrown
at her. Yeah, like literally.
And she just goes, they're so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Lexi's just very sure that she's it.
Yeah.
Macon doesn't really care. He just wants to kill this person elaborately. He's like, his
He's
whole
here
plan
for
is
the
like,
murder.
I will do it like this. And he goes, no, maybe we'll staple a pancake to his face and throw him in front of the G train. And
Yes.
he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, of course, like Alexander has to have this whole thing where he like makes the drug dealer get the wallet, and we find out who our victim is.
Yeah.
And his name is Christopher.
Our hero is Christopher.
Yes, our hero is
and
Christopher.
He's pretty much just tied up for most of this movie.
He's just like literally just still tied up and watching everything that's happening. Like one of the lines I wrote down was funny. It was like that his cause of death will be art, because there's like pretension just seeping out of this
and
man.
this is one of the things I love that really sets kind of the tone, because Alexander has this whole speech around here that says, you know, I expected kind of more from everybody's presentation to me. This whole place, this whole area is going to be a Starbucks. It's going to be a Jamba Juice. It's going to be apartments marketed as artist lofts, and everybody's like, yeah, that's going to suck. He's like, no, that's cool. We're going to be the artists that live here. So Alexander just doesn't quite get.
No.
He knows kind of the lines to tick, or how gentrification is bad, but then when he gets to gentrification, he's like, oh no, that's what I want. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
I gotta say, all of these people, even Alexander, they're like 23. This is just
they're
a
barely
bunch
out
of
of school.
kids.
They are a bunch of children.
At this point, Alexander decides, I don't like any of your ideas of killing this guy. What we're going to do is wait for the witching hour, and then we're all going to stab him.
Right.
And they're like, okay, fine. But if we're going to stay here that long, we need food. So we have this giant conversation. The camera's going in a circle of everybody going, I want pizza. Pizza's too lame. Sushi, I don't want fish. All this stuff. And then they look and find out during this conversation, Christopher has escaped. The chair's empty, and they're like, fuck.
Yes.
Now ensues a whole.
Now the chase scene. And it's funny because, like, it's really bad cartoon chase scene. Like, nobody is effectual at all. It's really funny. And then Christopher goes into a, like, supply closet. Like, he gets into a closet.
I love this. So
I love this, too. This is my favorite scene.
a little bit.
This is, like, I laughed out loud at this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This warehouse they're running through has boxes to the ceiling, so there's little
aisles through boxes.
Aisles.
Yeah.
There's, for some reason, a bunch of, like, dry cleaning that they're cutting through.
Yeah, there is a bunch, like, it's a dry cleaning warehouse. Yeah.
And there's just boxes and garbage thrown everywhere. Chris gets into the supply closet.
Yeah. And then it's, like, full of, like, whole bunch of, like, fire extinguishers and other big, heavy metal things.
The camera cuts to this tubing on the ground, then this fire extinguisher over here, then this copper wire up here.
Right.
And you just tell he's adding it all together.
He's gonna add it all together. And then it cuts to outside the door, and the door slams open. He's got a handful of shit, and he kind of just, like, throws it
on the ground
and then
runs
tries to use it. It was so funny. He was just, like, drops a pile on the ground and then tries to run away, and they just catch him.
It's just a weird, like, football feint.
Yes. Because obviously our protagonist is not that clever.
It's realistic, because in all of these movies, they show somebody and they're like, oh, look, now they're the hero. This person has no training, no tactical awareness, and suddenly they're able to fight and make the most brilliant. I was like, that's exactly what I would do. I was like, here's some things. I'm going to throw them at people. I'm just going to run off. It didn't work. I'm just going to try and get the fuck out of here.
MacGyver, I am not. So this little chase does introduce something important, which is the corded chainsaw. As everyone runs after Christopher, they all grab some weapons. What Macon, our werewolf, grabs is a kind of mini chainsaw that is corded. So he also grabs this whole bundle of orange electrical extension cord, plugs it in, and now he's running through it. So Chris ultimately doesn't get away. He gets
they tie
tied
him back up.
and now he's chained. He's got, instead of, like, the duct tape, now he has some chains around him with a lock.
And then here I just wrote, like, montage of people waiting and fucking.
Well, so, I mean, this isn't really necessary. We know that Macon, it kind of is, though. Macon seems to have a crush on
He does.
Lexi.
On Lexi, yeah.
Can't really get her attention too much, and we do cut to Alexander fucking Lexi in the background. And Macon knows. Macon goes down for pizza and kind of figures that out.
Right.
In a weird turn, Alexander decides that his drug dealer, Zyko, has brought them all a treat, which is sodium amythol. They're all going to shoot it up and sit in a circle and play a game of basically truth or dare,
but with truth serum.
It's truth or truth.
Yeah.
What comes of this is Macon basically confesses his love to Lexi right there.
Yeah.
Lexi couldn't give a shit.
Paul says he's bi.
Alexander has not taken it.
No.
So he's injected into his pizza crust.
Because he has, like, absolute control over this group.
Right.
We have to remember that Alexander, everything that he says, they do. Everybody here, including the drug dealer guy. Zyko. Finally, what comes out of this is that they're all kicking Bill out of the collective. Yes.
Our baseball fury is good at art, and it makes everyone mad.
Yeah, because he's too talented.
I love Lexi's line here where she's like, I used to like art, but now I just want it to suck because when something is good, there's no room for me.
Yes.
And I just was like, I've been in a room with this type of person who wants to be an artist because it shines on them.
Yeah.
And that's not how art works.
No.
You know, as you and I,
definitely this entire experience watching them around their truth serum and their assholeness made me like, this is why I did not want to be a part of this environment, which is why I went into commercial art. Like, I remember trying to, like, do shit like this when I was a kid, and I just could not. I'd rather get a paycheck for art.
And I never understood, my big hobby, which was supposed to be my career, is my drawings.
Right.
It just didn't work out that way, mostly because I can't sit in rooms like this. I can't.
Right. You can't put up with this kind of people.
This kind of people, and it's hard for me to do in a vacuum and make it successful. So you just do it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you draw a t-shirt for a podcast every once in a while.
There you go.
Maybe I'll find a podcast to do.
Guess what?
That's a good idea, right?
Yeah, it's totally a good idea.
But this does lead to a scene I didn't remember, which is when Zyko, the drug dealer, gets to his truth. He likes drug dealing, except he has to deal with a racial slur.
Yeah.
And this, I didn't remember this scene. It was rough because Lexi's immediately like, see, I want to hate you because you're a racist asshole right now. But,
right.
And when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, no but,
no
Lexi.
but, no but.
And then,
it was, again, it's 2007, which is almost 20 years ago, by the way, and that kind of freaked me out.
Sure. And the N-word was being dropped left and right, but still, it's pretty uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable, and then the world has changed, but also, like, it's just showing us how much of an asshole she is, let alone the people with her.
And then Macon was like, holy shit, Lexi's talked about this before, we need to change the subject. Bill's like, I hate white people, even though he's white.
He is white.
I get the whole conversation is, let's just say, I didn't need more evidence that these people were assholes.
It laid it on thick.
On the other hand, this absolutely feels like a overheard conversation that these writers absolutely heard.
Right.
And we're like, I'm putting this in the screenplay.
Yeah.
Can you believe these fuckers?
Yeah.
Because it didn't need to be there, but it really like hammer home like how pathetic this whole group of people are.
Sure. So from here we go on to another montage, right?
Oh wait, no. Hero is also
they
shot up.
include him. They
So
include
Christopher also tells this story in his Truth Serum space, where he tells the story of him shitting himself as a groomsman at a friend's wedding.
He was stuck in an elevator for like half an hour, and when he had to go to the bathroom, and then he shat himself, and then he had to ride up 6 floors with it, and it touched his socks.
Yeah.
It was very big deal that it touched his socks.
So that's like his most embarrassed moment. He says he's a traffic cop from the civilian branch of the NYPD. He's level 1 TEA. All he does is write tickets and ruins people's lives all day. I could die today and no one would miss me. I didn't even tell anyone I was coming to a murder party.
So they're really laying on that he's sad.
It's this
lost boy.
It's this moment of truth in this circle of liars who are, no, I'm sorry, not liars. They're telling the truth. In this circle of
assholes.
Their truth is shallow. His truth is pretty harrowing.
Yeah.
It's existentially sad. So at this point, we have a dance party, right?
Yeah, we all have a dance party. Everybody's freaked. It goes crazy.
I think somebody's like, we need to turn this back around with Coke. So everybody starts
that's right.
blowing lines.
They do Coke now.
Now Alexander fucks Paul. Macon is getting crazy drunk.
Crazy. He's pouring alcohol all over himself.
He's pouring booze all over his face. He is so sad that Lexi's not reciprocating. He's unrequited love drunk, becoming an absolute mess. Bill is painting a painting. We can't see what it is. And they send him out. Let's see, who is it? Alexander, Lexi, and Paul send Bill out to check on a Hellhammer who's been tied up outside.
Yes. So up until this point, like, he was saying something about how he hated these people or something. I don't remember, to himself.
Who is he, Bill?
Bill was.
Well,
like,
he clearly hates these people.
At this point, though, in the movie, I feel like Bill is... I realize this is about to change, but I feel like Bill is the best out of all of them at this point.
I mean, I kind of
He's
argue
not participating.
I mean, Chris is, but if you're talking of the artist collective, he's the best.
Out of the artist collective. He's the best of the artist collective. He's not participating, and when he is, I mean, he made that comment about how he'd rather be at home with his mommy and daddy during the Proof.
I will contend at the end of this movie, he's the best person of the artist collective.
Okay.
He actually...
You're right. You're probably right.
He has to...
He probably is still the best person. I actually wrote this down, and then he went outside, like you're going to say, to go talk to this dog. And then I scratched that out.
Oh, yes. My bad. I forgot. When Bill is outside talking to Hellhammer, the cute dog, he's just saying, I hate you. I hate you.
I hate you.
But I took that to mean he's vocalizing what he feels for the people upstairs to the dog.
I can see that now after I've seen the entirety of this movie. But at that time... this person who I said, oh, he's the best person, is suddenly telling a dog he hates him. Yeah. So I'm like...
Hellhammer didn't care.
Hellhammer didn't care.
Yeah,
he's just like, hi, you're here to see me.
While he's down telling the dog he hates him, Alexander, Paul, and Lexi are looking at Bill's painting, and they're clearly beside themselves with jealousy.
Yeah.
And they start calling, it's like, it's so pedestrian. It's jejune. It's this, that, and the other thing.
They're making fun of it. Pretty hard.
And Bill comes back up and catches the tail end of them talking shit on his painting. Alexander sends Zyko out for some crank.
Yep.
He needs to get higher and higher. And then wants to recite to the room Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven in its entirety.
Right. So stupid.
Which is so stupid. And he begins, and luckily it's interrupted when Paul's photography assistant shows up, because Paul just wants to make...
He's here just to make art.
Some art. He wants to take some photos.
And he's a professional. So unlike the rest of them.
He has an assistant, and she starts checking the lighting on tied up Chris's thing and whatever. And she's just like, don't worry to Chris. This happens in almost all photo shoots.
Yeah.
She's just so like,
because he's trying to tell her to run
about what's going on.
Yeah.
Macon goes down for a drink. Okay, so here's what's
down.
At this point, we're just going to be like, and then.
Yeah, we are. We probably need to.
Because the one thing that is happening during this entire movie in the background that people keep walking around and showing up is there's a small like coffee table with a line of dominoes set up. And you keep waiting.
I don't notice
I know.
this.
I love it. I love this detail.
Okay.
There's this line of dominoes set up in like a wave pattern in the middle of this floor. People are walking around it. People are doing coke by it. People are doing all this stuff. And you just keep waiting for the dominoes to
topple. And they never fall?
They never fall.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's twee. I don't know if that's clever. I don't know what it is. But I kept watching the dominoes. And I'm like, at the end, I was like, maybe this cat survived the whole movie. So Macon goes down. He's basically so like blackout, stumbly drunk. He goes down for a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he sticks a
He's
cigarette
still soaked in alcohol, remember?
through his
mask
werewolf muzzle. So the tip just hangs out and goes to light it. And he lights his whole face on
But
fire.
they don't show it. We just hear screaming out the window. And nobody responds. Everybody's just still having all their regular conversations. And you can hear all the screaming in the background.
The two girls, one runs down. Lexi
Eventually
runs down
they notice.
one of those water pump extinguishers. That's by the time she gets down there, it's empty.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the assistant, the photographer's assistant, that
She
runs
grabs
down
they
with
both
an
do
actual
together. Yeah.
fire extinguisher. When they put him down, it's the best.
Oh my God, it's the best mask.
The best-
I wrote this down multiple times. It was the best mask.
The best special effect in this is his burnt, wet meat face, and then the part of the latex mask that sticks to him, which is the muzzle.
It was so interesting to watch them tear off the top part of the plastic mask that's still the werewolf mask. It still exists. So, and he still has the muzzle attached, and he has this like fleshy redness underneath. It was a very good makeup job.
Yeah, it's hot and wet, and then he still has latex teeth.
Yeah.
That sit here, and this latex muzzle, and it's just like this combination. He's a monster now.
Yeah, he's a monster now.
Yeah.
He is passed out on the floor at this point in the movie, though.
Yeah, it's trauma.
And then this is when
shock.
Paul stabs Alex in the neck with the truth serum.
Right. So Paul's done with all of this.
He's just done.
Have we found Sky yet?
Oh, this is the same time. We go
Okay.
find Sky. Oh, the dog. Hellhammer's inside now.
Once Hellhammer comes inside, Chris basically is able to get its leash off it because Hellhammer was put outside because it keeps sniffing at the freezer where Sky's body is.
Right.
And so Chris recognizes this and lets Hellhammer off the leash just by wiggling through his chains. And Hellhammer goes right to Sky. And Alexander finds Sky's body.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't seem to care.
He doesn't seem to care, but at that moment while he's looking in the freezer, that's when Paul stabs him with the truth serum in the neck.
So now we get Alexander's truth.
Yeah, and his name is Tim.
His name is actually Tim.
He's a fry cook.
He lives with his grandmother.
Yes.
And he doesn't
He's
have
not an
anybody.
artist, and his entire plan was to murder them all and take the art that they had submitted for the grant and sell it because they're all dead, so it'll be worth more money.
Every artist is worth more money dead. So, again, stupid plan.
Stupid plan.
None of this is going to work. No one knows who these people are, so it doesn't matter if they're dead or alive.
Right. But Alex is now high on the truth serum, and the drug dealer shows back up with a crank, and he tells him to start shooting people.
Yeah, once Zyko walks in, and Alexander is just still on his truth serum kick and goes, Zyko, kill them all.
Yeah.
And Zyko just
He just starts shooting people, so he shoots Paul through the head.
The assistant.
He shoots the assistant through the head. Then Lexi freaks out and jumps him. And so they're fighting. And then this is when Macon wakes up, right?
Right. Macon sees Lexi. Zyko immediately overpowers Lexi.
Right. And he's got her in a headlock.
Hellhammer does steal the bag of crank.
Right.
And starts eating it. Zyko, when Mason wakes up, he immediately gets his chainsaw and kills Zyko with the chainsaw.
He goes through the leg, like right at the femoral artery with the chainsaw. Yeah.
Bill, this whole time, is just playing the video game.
He's just playing the video game.
He's just watching everyone die.
So it's like he's playing the video game, and speaking of everybody dies, the video game like literally says everybody dies. And at the same time this happens, the dog attacks Alex.
Right.
Because he's high on crank.
Alex decides exit stage left, his crank is gone, I'm getting out of this shit show. He walks out, and then we watch
And the Hellhammer chases him.
Hellhammer goes after him, and then we watch Alexander, who has said multiple times in this thing that he's going to have the dog put down tomorrow.
Yes.
Comes crawling back into frame.
Also,
with his entire lips
all
ripped
of them are
off.
gone. The dog ate all his face.
Yeah. He's dragged away again.
Yes, Hellhammer.
Hellhammer
Hero.
wins.
A hero dog.
Yeah, perhaps Hellhammer's the best.
So right now it's down to Christopher, who's tied up still, and Macon with the chainsaw, and
Bill.
Bill. Sorry,
So-
Bill.
Just as Lexi's going down, her last thing is she unlocks Hero.
Oh, that's right. She did.
Yeah, she just decides she's going to get him out. Bill now snaps for, apparently just because the
The video game told him everybody dies.
and takes an axe to Lexi. And we have a slaughter in this warehouse. Almost all of our characters are gone.
Pretty much almost all of them.
Chris is on the run. These are the dominoes that are falling instead of the
Yeah.
literal dominoes. So it's like you see dominoes in the beginning, like, what's the third act gun?
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. They're Chekhov's dominoes. And instead of dominoes falling, it's all of the characters rapidly going.
Right,
boom,
yeah,
boom,
they
boom,
are.
boom, boom, boom.
They are. Everybody dies.
Not everybody, because hero Chris is running from Bill.
Yes.
Bill is screaming, everyone dies, and he's got an axe.
He has an axe.
And Macon, who has watched Bill axe Lexi, his unrequited love, has now gathered up his chainsaw
With the cord.
and the cord and
It's
is
chasing
running
them
after
both.
Bill.
Yeah.
It's still unpowered. And this is a beautiful running across the
It's
rooftops of Brooklyn.
But I love this part, okay? Where
so good.
Chris gets to the roof first, and he has to stop for a potty break because he's been tied up
It is
for hours.
so good.
It is so good. He's so far ahead of everybody else because of the weird
It's the
conveyor
first-
belt. It's just great.
The conveyor belt's a thing.
It doesn't
We look
matter,
at
but
it.
it doesn't matter. But he's there
It's
ahead of everybody. But he
one of
has to
these
stop and pee.
Authentic moments
Yeah.
where he gets out of frame and just is like immediately like drop and it's like, thank God. And then Bill shows up and he's like, fuck, it's still going.
I know, he's like trying to finish.
And so he's trying to pee faster and faster, zips up and runs away.
It was so good. It was so
And
good.
Bill's whole thing at this point just seems to be like, kill everyone in front of me.
Yeah, so like they're running across all the rooftops and they make it to Cicero's party.
Which we know is just... Now, Cicero's party is bumping.
It is.
It is a rooftop bar. We have lots of extras. They called in all of
So
their
many
friends.
people and different floors.
There's a
and-
DJ. This really gave me Dr. Sketchy vibes.
Yeah.
Back when I would go to that.
Oh,
and it was
sure,
in the
yeah.
lofts under 18th Street.
Absolutely.
Where there's all these people. There's a DJ. It's all thumping. Everyone's dancing. There's this weird moment where a girl just like peanuts dance through the screen. I'm like, whose girlfriend's that? She got a very special dance just now. Chris is running through the party, trying to convince everyone shit's happening, but it's
Nobody's
Halloween.
listening. It's
No one's
Halloween,
listening.
even
It's a
though, yeah,
party.
it doesn't matter.
Everyone's being weird.
I love how Bill stops for what was the drink he
a
ordered?
pink panty dropper.
Pink penny
He's-
dropper.
He
He
stops,
stops at the bar and orders a cocktail.
orders a cocktail. There's a screen with lights up that Chris tries to hide behind, but it just
It's rice paper.
It just projects his form real big. So he downs his pink panty dropper real quick. I'll probably look that up. See, it can't be good.
It can't
It's got to be
possibly.
like Pink Whitney and
I don't
Jägermeister.
think Pink Whitney
I bet it's like
lived in there.
vodka and grenadine and like lemonade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because
something-
there's no
it's
way that
something
Pink
nothing.
Whitney existed in 2007.
All right, well, we'll just see.
Okay.
Let's fight about it. The running ensues. We get to a part of the party where we meet Cicero, who is clearly an accomplished artist.
He's wearing
This-
a headset.
he's
Is
wearing
he
a
an
headset.
accomplished artist or is he pretending to be
He's
one?
accomplished. Look,
You're right.
Cicero's has a Halloween
You're right.
thumping thing out there.
You're right.
And then he's going to show off his art.
You're correct. Yeah, he is about to have a performance art presentation happen at this later on, and he's wearing the headset. He's got assistants. He's ready for this.
So Chris gets past him to hide inside the art space that's being blocked off, and it's just a room full of naked people.
Yeah, with
that
body
are
paint.
Body paint on them. They're just sprawled around, laying around. It's literally nothing.
It's nothing.
Just
Yeah.
And there's a piece of copy paper on the wall that says art ?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's the worst fucking thing
It's
in the
bad.
world.
Yeah, it's not good. But they also flash, which I also giggled at this part. We still have Macon behind them, and he is carrying his chainsaw in a giant orange
bundle
and he's
of
just running
extension
across the roof. And it was just like so funny to like watch him struggle with the extension cord.
So Bill runs into Cicero, and we realize real quick that Cicero and Bill have a past.
Yeah.
Cicero's like, oh my God, Bill, I'm doing my art thing. My art thing's amazing. It's about to happen. Whatever happened to your art thing? Our art teacher used to say your murals were great, blah, blah. And it really shows how Bill is lower in the art world than Cicero.
Of course.
He's like really put in his place. And at this point, Cicero's just put off. He's like, why is Bill here? They're just letting people in. Let everyone in now. How
Well,
does...
doesn't Bill say fuck this whole scene?
Yeah, he does.
And then he goes into the...
He doesn't kill Cicero, though,
no,
does he?
he just walks away towards where the room is, where the
Yeah.
art installation is.
Bill says, fuck this whole scene. He goes into the room where all these painted naked people are and Chris is, and he goes, kill everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And at that point, we cut to Macon, who has just made it to the rooftop bar of this party.
Right.
And it's like a tiki bar thing.
It is like a tiki bar.
And he follows the Christmas lights to a plug-in, runs over there, plugs in his chainsaw, super happy, and immediately falls over
off
the edge of the
roof.
building.
Yeah.
So while Bill is in the room
murdering everyone except for Chris. Yeah.
Axe murdering all of the naked people who are screaming. Blood is going everywhere. The art question mark is being splattered with blood. Chris has backed up to this open window and Macon falls past the window, and so does the chainsaw. And he pulls up the chainsaw on the extension cord and now has the chainsaw.
And then he goes right through Bill's face.
And then just drills it through Bill's
He's just
face.
like, Chris has had enough.
Screaming. Another good special effect. It looks great.
It does look great.
Chainsaw going through his
great.
face and he's still screaming.
He does great. And then he grabs a jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, yeah, he does take a jack-o'-lantern and puts it over
Bill's head and says, you just ruined the party.
You just ruined the party.
You just ruined the party.
He doesn't
like, literally, he's been tied up for hours, and the last thing he says to this guy is, you just ruined the party.
He doesn't say it. He screams.
He screams it.
It is a victim scream of, you just ruined the party.
This whole thing seems like an introvert finally convinced himself that he should go out and have a good time, and he's like, you guys just ruined my chance.
Well, and that's
We're going to get to that,
I mean, you know, obviously all the artists come to look at Cicero's
They think
thing.
it's art. They think it's part of the installation.
Chris finally grabs Cicero's phone on his way out and dials 911 on it, hands it back to Cicero and says, it's real.
Yeah.
And then walks out. We see him, you know, walking to the subway. Chris trying to get home. He doesn't have his wallet anymore. So we cut to him just walking as the sun is coming up, finally making it back to his neighborhood. His watch goes off, telling him to take his pills. We see a close-up on his pills. That is alprazolam, which is for anxiety and panic disorders. Mm-hmm. And instead of taking them, he just tosses them.
He just checks them because you don't need that more anymore.
This night apparently has cured him of what he thinks is a bad time.
Yep.
He is covered head to toe in blood in his night costume. He gets home. Mm-hmm. The cat is still laying in his seat.
Same place.
And he goes, Lancelot, please get down. And the cat looks at him and gets down.
Yep. And he sits in his seat.
Chris sits in his seat, turns on his VHS movie, and turns off us.
Yeah, the end.
And that's Murder Party.
It was very cute.
I love this movie.
I know you do.
It is a delight to me. I just think that for such a small budget, it's making fun of the people that need to be made fun of.
Oh, sure,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
got its bumpy stuff, but I think Chris is for being tied up for all of the movie and having 7 lines. He's such a good little hero.
Yeah,
he just
absolutely.
He just gets it done. You didn't quite like it as much.
I know. This is obviously the second time I've seen this movie.
We both watched
We've seen this movie a long time ago, and then we've recently rewatched it.
We were going through all this list of what could be a Halloween-themed movie, and you were like, Murder Party. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Because it is. It takes place at Halloween. It is quirky. It's a good movie because it's not like scary horror. I like quirky horror. It's my favorite.
Nothing so scary as Night Swim.
Ooh. It was not scary. But I had some issues in this rewatch with how awful and how the people were. And also, like, they laid a lot of breadcrumbs for me. I felt like they were just telling me, like, there was a lot of meta in this movie.
Okay, I guess I didn't see this as a breadcrumby type of movie.
Okay.
Because I was just like, these guys are all assholes and they're all going to die.
They were. But that was the thing. Like, they literally said in the video game, everybody dies. And,
again,
like, that was part of it.
This is a real Timagami thing. With my bad hearing, I didn't hear the video game say you're going to die. And I have subtitles on. Typically, it tells me these things, but I didn't notice that.
It's okay. But it's
also,
okay.
It's kind of dumb. I don't understand why that would be a breaking point for him. That his video game told him.
I don't know if it was. That's just, like, exactly the moment he decided to murder everybody else.
Everybody dies.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the video game doing that, but he was very invested in that video game throughout the movie, so.
I just think as a 79-minute movie, it is come in here, meet the characters, and then it is boom, 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 all the way to the end.
No.
And,
at the end of the day, like, if I took this movie at face value, first watch, it's wonderful.
There's nothing.
I have nothing bad to say about it.
There's nothing more to this movie than
It was a very good movie. It had a lot of clever notes, so.
That was Murder Party. Now, Jamie, do we have a question from John?
We do.
Oh, you want some questions?
Yeah, I want some questions from you.
Okay. So hive minds, they should be a lot stronger.
I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we had a hive mind in reality, they would be.
Okay, so like,
what are we talking about?
Like, what's a hive mind in a movie?
The Borg is a hive mind, right?
The Borg is a hive mind for sure, and they're very strong, aren't they? I mean, like they're very, very strong.
Yeah, John. I don't know if we can have a hive mind in reality to base this off of, because the internet is a hive mind and no one agrees with anyone and everyone's lying and a piece of shit and the worst comes out of everyone. And so our real life hive mind sucks ass, and thank God it's not stronger.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, already it is pretty strong because it makes your uncle have to sit in the other room during Thanksgiving. It tears families apart. But
well, what I was thinking of in terms of hive minds is that if the hive mind is all connected, if the hive mind decides on a shitty idea, everybody's a dumbass.
That's true.
yes. I mean, I think that's the future of AI, right? Isn't that like AI is going to come up with one shitty idea and
we're just going to let it happen?
it.
Yeah.
And
Skynet.
That's the
Skynet.
end. And Skynet's going to be a fucking doofus. We're going to die because of an idiot god.
I mean, like, Skynet is a hive mind, and they decided that we were all the enemy, and so they tried to annihilate us.
And AI is going to be like, we've decided...
I guess John's question is if you have that many brains, shouldn't it be more powerful? And it more seems like that you have one brain that's controlling everybody else instead of having a community brain. Because, like, if you have a community brain, then
it's not
you
a
have...
brainstorming session.
But as a hive mind, we should have a brainstorming session. And it should be able to solve all the problems because you can see all of the different angles from once. But instead, we get one idea and one path because of the one supremacy part of the hive mind that makes stupid decisions in movies.
I need to follow up with John about this. We need to break this down of what do you mean by stronger? And
Well, in Murder Party, the artists, the hive decided that they should murder someone for art, but they
That's
were
true.
all
none could
so
decide how.
stupid.
Yeah.
They couldn't get over themselves.
Right. So, and that's what the internet is. So there is no...
She's right. I mean, like,
I
that
know she
movie is a hive mind.
I mean, I think the concept of hive mind is everyone's on the same page, though. Like, all the way down.
Which is why if everyone is on the same page with the dumb idea, everybody's dumb.
The end of... Okay, when I was a kid, I was terrified of... Dying is always scary, but I never wanted to be killed by a dumbass. Someone doing something stupid. So, I mean, to this now, it's a little different. It's inevitable I will be. But back then I was like, I don't want to walk down the road and have a drunk driver just plow into me because he didn't see me. I don't want, like, someone dropping a air conditioner out of
You
a
wanted your
building
death to
onto my
mean
head.
more than-
I not mean more. I just don't want to die for a stupid fucking reason because another if it was a meteorite falling on my head, fine.
Right.
But if it was like Todd from down the street didn't fucking put the screws in his air conditioner unit right and it landed on my head, that's Todd's fault, and fuck Todd, and I hate this. He ruined me. Now it's like that's what's going to happen. AI is going to decide, well, it's not that all humans are bad. It's that tapioca pudding's really good. And then it's going to flood the earth with tapioca pudding. We're all going to die. Every machine will only make tapioca pudding. And it'll just be like, and then all of Earth drowned in tapioca. And 7 million years later, plant life started growing out of tapioca finally, and we get to start over again. We don't end in a bang, we end in pudding. We end in pudding.
Title of this episode.
And I think we did it again. I want to thank Jamie for being our producer on this journey, Kevin MacLeod for doing our music. All of our artwork is done by Lindsay and myself. You can find all of that and all of our episodes and all of our stuff at creaturepop.com. That's creature with a K, pop.com. Until next time, take it easy, John.
Bye, John.